All right, sixth grade, welcome to the Read Aloud. Today, I'm going to start from the top. Please follow along as I read. It is hard to believe that the great civilization of Rome was defeated, but it's true. By 476 AD, the great city of Rome had fallen, and the entire western half of the Roman Empire was in chaos. Most modern historians believe that a number of problems combined to bring about Rome's fall. Here are the main reasons. Political instability. Rome never solved the problem of how to peacefully transfer power to a new and capable leader. When an emperor died, ambitious rivals often fought each other to lead. Real power fell into the hands of the armies, who could help leaders into power or destroy them. Sometimes rivals didn't wait for an emperor to die. Emperors were regularly murdered. At the same time, the growing number of Christians meant that fewer and fewer people worshipped the emperor as a god. Go ahead and pause the video now to answer questions 1 and 2. According to this paragraph, who had the real power in Rome before its collapse? Question 2. How did Christianity affect the emperor's power? Go ahead and pause the video to answer this now. Economic instability. Economic instability contributed to other problems. To pay for Rome's huge army, citizens had to pay heavy taxes. These taxes were higher than ever before, so high that many Roman citizens could not afford to pay. The wealthiest of Romans stopped paying out of protest, so the government did not have enough money to maintain social services, aqueducts, roads, and all the other things Romans had come to expect. In addition, the Romans were importing many more goods, like silk from China, than they were exporting, which meant that they were spending more money than they were making. That's always a recipe for disaster, whether for an individual person or an entire empire. Go ahead and answer questions 3 and 4. What was the main reason for the decline of government services in Rome? What was the problem with Roman imports and exports? Pause the video to answer this now. Social unrest. Remember that Rome was divided into plebeians, the working class people with little money, and patricians, the wealthy landowners with tons of political power. Roman emperors knew that they had to be careful with the plebeians. If the poor were unhappy, they would band together and rebel against the rich. So Roman emperors had a policy that is known as bread and circus. The government provided free grain for bread to the poor, and they set up free entertainment such as gladiator matches. This kept the poor from being hungry or bored, so they didn't feel the need to revolt. Still, by the last century of the Roman Empire, the bread and circuses weren't working so well. Money and food were scarce. The government could not afford to pay for food and gladiator fights when people weren't paying their taxes. The poor and slaves band together and rebelled against the rich, often enough to worry the patricians. Answer questions 5 and 6. Why was the government having trouble affording the bread and circus? What was the main purpose of the bread and circus? Pause the video to answer this now. Weak borders. The Romans called everyone outside the Roman Empire barbarians and thought they lacked culture and morals. However, the Romans needed help guarding their huge borders, so they often paid the barbarian tribes to help protect Roman territory. They paid the tribes to patrol their far-off territories where the tired Roman army could not or would not go. The barbarians, who were actually Germanic tribes such as the Vandals and the Visigoths, were actually taking over the land they were sent to protect. By the 300s, the Germanic tribes were pressing hard on the western borders of the empire and wanted more land. Finally, in 410 AD, the Visigoths appeared outside the city in force, and the Roman Senate prepared to resist. But in the middle of the night, rebellious slaves opened the city gate to the attackers. The Visigoths poured in and set fire to the nearby houses. 1163 years after the foundation of Rome, Gibbon pronounced, the imperial city, which had subdued and civilized so considerable a part of mankind, was delivered to the fury of the tribes of Germany. Why were Germanic tribes guarding the borders of Rome? And which tribe captured the city of Rome? Go ahead and pause the video to answer these last two questions now.